Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. So we will be covering the Azure series step by step. To start off, our first topic for today is Azure Functions Introduction. And we will also cover Azure Functions in detail in further videos. So let's start. So things before Azure Functions. We had to choose the development framework. Then we had to also deploy the framework on servers. And then we had to maintain and manage those servers, which is not quick and easy process. So what are Azure Functions? They are basically serverless application platform where we need to write less code. They also need less maintenance of infrastructure and hence it saves the cost. Basically, they are functions as a service platform. Why serverless? So instead of maintaining service ourselves, we delegate the server management work to cloud provider. We only deploy our code. In simple words, we have to focus on piece of code that we want to deploy and everything else will be handled by Azure Functions. When to use Azure Functions? While building enterprise applications, we usually encounter scenarios to run some code blocks based on some events like DB changes, file uploads, or managing queue messages, etc. So to manage all these, Azure Functions providers compute on demand functionality. Now, how do they provide compute on demand? So in response to any event, it executes the code blocks anytime. It also provides automated scaling. When user request increases, function instance also increases and vice versa. Advantages of Azure Functions. Basically, it gives us the programming flexibility of choosing the programming languages. You can choose different programming language to write your Azure Functions like C Sharp, Java, JavaScript, Python, etc. They also offer me flexible pricing plans. Azure Functions run in a service plan on Azure App Service. So currently it provides three pricing plans, basically consumption plan, premium plan or app service plan. The details of each and every plan is being listed below. Next, continuing the advantage of Azure Functions, it also gives me the flexibility in development tools like Azure Portal, Visual Studio ID, Visual Studio Code or command line. So now I'll show you in further lecture how to create Azure Functions using all these tools. So let's start the demo to create a basic Azure function. I click on a create resource using this plus sign. Now in this, I'll search for the function app resource. And I click on it. The form gets open. I click on a create. Now you can see there is a subscription and we can also see that it is asking for a resource group. So basically, if it is not created, we can create the new one, but I already have one resource group. I can use this. And then I have to enter the function app name, which should be unique. So I'm entering a unique function app name. As it says, it is not being taken. So this is the unique. And now in the publish, I can select the code. In the runtime stack, I select .NET. So basically, it gives me an option where you are going to write your code. Here I'm choosing .NET version 3.1. Next, we have to choose the region where you want to host this function. I'm using Central US. Next, I click on Next Hosting. Here you can see in Hosting Plan tab, first we have to select the storage instance. So basically here we can choose the specific storage instance if I want to use it. Else we can keep it default. So we can choose this one. So as you can see, I have kept this as a default. Now next, we have to choose the operating system where you want to host it. I am choosing Windows here. The plan type, choose the consumption plan, which is the serverless plan. In this, you don't need to configure size of machine. It will be handled automatically according to the volume of request. We can also choose premium plan if we want to configure yourself the hosting machine and its size. Next, I click on next monitoring. Here we can attach the instance of application insights with my Azure function. It will provide me the detailed logs and traces of my Azure function, which can help me in debugging and troubleshooting any issue. It is free, which is provided with functions. So I have enabled this. If you can see, I have clicked on yes. And then this is the application insights, which will be created for this. Next, I click on this button, next tags. It is used to add metadata on the resources which are created, and then it can be used in bills to analyze how much resource is costing me. So here I am leaving it blank. I click on review and create. This page will give the detailed summary of what we are going to create. Now we click on create button to create the function. Now it is getting created. As you can see on the right hand corner, it is submitting the deployment. It will take some time, and this will be deployed to this particular resource group which I selected. Right. If, as you can see, the deployment is in progress. So basically this function, Azure function, is getting deployed. So once this is deployed, we will go ahead and show the next part of it. So let's wait for some time. It is getting deployed. Deployment is almost done. Next, we can go to the home and we can see whether we can refresh and see whether our resource is being created or not. As you can see, deployment is still in progress. As soon as it is deployed, it will be shown in the list of recent resources. It's taking some time, and obviously anytime whenever you deploy Azure function, you can check in the notification what is the current status of deployment. As it says, the deployment is in progress and deployment is being done to this particular resource group. Basically, resource group gives me the collection of all the resources in that particular resource group. If we have to, group resources on based of something, we can create a different resource group for that. So once it is done, we will be going to that particular Azure function. As you can see, it is deployed. Now I can go to that resource. This is the function name, function app demo 2222. Now I want to create a HTTP trigger function. Now there are different types of Azure functions. I will start off with a basic HTTP trigger function. As you can see from the left, I can click on functions, and in these functions you can see there are no triggered functions created as of now. I'll click on add. This window will open up, and in this window I will select the template which is HTTP trigger, and then in this one I will give the name like HTTP trigger test function. And authorization level, there are different authorization levels. Basically I will choose anonymous, but I'll explain you each of one. Anonymous is where no API key is required, and function is where a function specific API key is required, and in the admin the master key is required. So it determines what keys, if any, need to be present on the request in order to invoke the function. So we can choose any of the authorization level. For this demo I am choosing the anonymous. So now I'll click on the add. Now this is getting created, and now for testing this, basically I'll just click on get function URL. You can see I can just select the default, and in this I click on copy to clipboard. So if I go here, I paste this URL into the browser's address bar. Now I can add a query string, name equals Virat. As you can see, I just ran this Azure function and it has run successfully. It says, hello Virat, this HTTP triggered function executed successfully. right? So browser has displayed a response message that echoes back the query string value. So basically, you can see when the function runs, you can see here coming back to this code, and if you click on code plus test, it is loading this page. As you can see in the code also, it is asking for a query, and the query string value should be name, the key value, and that is the same key value I have provided here. And I can give any value. If I give Sachin, it will give hello Sachin, as you can see here. So that is how it works. Next, I want to show you the logs. Basically, when my function runs, there is some trace information which is getting written to the logs. So if I scroll down here, you can see this is logs. If I expand this, and now if I call my function again, you can see the trace output being written to the logs. So if I just click on refresh, you can see here it executes the function, and C# HTTP trigger function processed the request, and everything in log is being recorded. If there is any error, that will also be recorded here. So that's it about the introduction, basic introduction about Azure function. We will be covering Azure function in details in further videos. If you like our video, then please like and subscribe our channel, and please keep tuned about the further updates and the further videos of this channel related to Azure. Thank you.